Hello, and welcome to part 2 of learning Hero Siege. On the first day, we focused on beating normal, and the main things we wanted to learn are how to level up our skills and kind of figure them out, and our attributes. And we also wanted to learn about our items and just the basic stuff that happens in our inventory. That was like the first two things that I think are most important to learn. They were kind of like my guiding light on the first day. Now, since I play a lot every day, I obviously progress faster than this series should progress. So, taking kind of like comments and ideas that I had making guides in the past or processes like these in the past, I'm gonna break down my progression instead of focusing on how much I do in a day, just like how much I think you should progress on when learning, so you don't have to do too much in one day. So basically on the first day, we beat normal. Normal is pretty easy once you get a grasp over your skills. And I finished normal at level 60 or so, 62 I think. I was told that you can finish it much faster, but if you take your time, that's about where you'll be. So once you get into Nightmare, you'll want to start learning a little bit more about game mechanics and kind of like the systems in the game. So today we're gonna have a look outside. We're gonna see how the game looks like when you step outside of the town, something I didn't really show. And basically, when you're hanging around, like there is a lot of things you'll just kind of learn by yourself. Like there's a mini map and it shows you kind of like your entrance point, all sorts of events that can happen. Like this is a pillar event. If you press it, it will spawn a bunch of monsters, which you usually want to press. You'll see the different rarities of items. You see that we just dropped something. And basically, Nightmare for me, when I was like trying to finish Nightmare, was basically just running through it. What do I mean? I mean, I didn't have to stop and kill almost anything. I was very strong through the entire path, and I basically just sped run through it. I didn't have to bother with it at all. There were also not many quests as well. You can ignore quests in this game, generally speaking, so I was just running around like this. So that's how I kind of like went through the game. I already knew what to do because I did it the day before. And the main focus in Nightmare was just like I level up a little bit, maybe I pick up a few items, and just try to, upgrade my gear. The main things that I focused on learning on day number 2, kind of like to defeat Nightmare, is going over the Runewords thing. Now, this is a long list of Runewords. It gives you the entire list. You don't have to search for it on an outside source, which is really nice. And also, you can sort them out, so you can like choose based on what you want to make it in. I still don't know what Codex is. Maybe that's something I'll learn about in the future. But you can basically, filter them based on the things that you want to use. So let's say you want to make something for your boots. Maybe your boots are not very good. Then you can see all the rune words that you can do in your boots. Now you can also sort them. The default is alphabetical. You can sort them based on the runes that you need for them, like the lowest to highest. That's how I kind of found out about the things that I think that I could make, basically. So I sorted them like this. And I looked at the first ones. I saw that there was one with plus skills. If you press Alt, it shows you like more information. So you can see that this can roll apparently two skills. You can see here this can get 2 skills. Paradox. So yeah, there's a bunch of like nice boots in here. Obviously, some of these require runes that you might not have. Just a reminder. The runes that you have are shown in your, there is like materials tab for your inventory. You have another materials tab. They're a little different from each other. So when you're talking runes, we're talking here. I decided to move them into my stash just because I don't know, because I played Diablo like too many years, and like seeing them like this makes me feel good. If you are coming from D2, then a lot of this is gonna be familiar for you, like the runes. Some of them all old is like LL, Naf, Nef, right? Some of them are straight up the same runes, like Umrune, Polrune, and they often have like very similar properties as your magic find. So these are the runes that I managed to find on my second day. And there are a lot of runes. You want to use them. You don't just want to let them sit there unless you have nothing to do with them. And making rune wards is pretty important. So how do you make Runewords? In the game, you'll find items that are, gray items or white items, and they'll have sockets, and based on how many sockets you got in them, you'll be able to make different Runewords. A Runeword that I, for example, made that was really useful was Sky Song. As you can see, Sky Song gives you skills, FCR, that's good for casters. So it was a nice Runeword that we made, and it's pretty cheap. It's kind of like the spirit of this game for people who play Diablo. So this was pretty useful. And you can see like in the list like more stuff. I basically just recommend filtering for like if you have like a slot like a shield maybe or boots or helm that are not very good, right? You'll filter only that thing, and now it's suddenly a lot less overwhelming. And then you filter it based on like the ascending from lowest to highest, ascending, descending. So, and you can look at this. Now it will show you the tier and levels required for the item. I'm going to explain what that is in a moment. But as you can see, Scholar, this kind of like lore, I think. It's like Earth Sal, which I think is Soul Rune and something. So kind of like, it's kind of like lore. So there's all sorts of things. You'll see some of them scale up very fast into like crazy stuff. Like this says 6 to all skills. I obviously didn't make a lot of these. I don't have these runes. But yeah, there's crazy stuff and there's like a little less crazy stuff. So that's kind of how you find your Runewords. In terms of jewels, you saw that there was a ton of jewels. You can use these jewels. There is this kind of like crafting station and prospect station. These two stations are kind of important. The prospect station is used to break down things into materials, mostly satanic items or higher, and you break them down into dust, but you can also do other things with them, right? You see it broke down into dust, and now it appeared over here, like satanic crystal. But you can also break down other stuff, and here in the crafting station you can upgrade your gems, and it kind of shows you all the recipes, but here it will show you the recipes that you can do, which is the important stuff. And as you can see, I'm just upgrading my gems like this, combining probably 3 into one of higher quality or so. That's the formula that I assume they're using. You'll see that we also have jewel crafting. This uses all the random materials you collect. Now, if you have stuff in your chest, then it won't show it while you're crafting. But you can see you can make all sorts of jewels. From my experience, or from what I looked into, in the beginning you can kind of ignore jewel crafting. They don't become very good jewels in the beginning. You see 4 physical damage or mana increase by 7. Not very impressive. Later on, the jewels look really crazy. You can see that it's like 10 in, 10 magic skill damage, right? This looks really good, 10 to all attributes. These look very expensive, so yeah, I don't really know how long it takes to get to these jewels, but they look really good. So later on, crafting will matter. And you'll see that you have a jewel crafting level. It's basically based on how much you're crafting, you'll get higher level, and I think you need to get to like 1000 or something. The same as with mining. When you're playing through the game, it will show you things that you can mine, and if that thing gives you mining level, basically keep mining it. In the beginning it's copper, then you do iron. Once you can mine something new, only mine the new thing. That's kind of like the rule of thumb. I wanted to show mining. Maybe I can show how it looks like real quick, and you can see that's kind of like your waypoint. You collect those. It's pretty important to collect them, especially once you get to hell. Early on it doesn't really matter when you're in Nightmare, because you're probably not going to return to Nightmare, as far as I know at least. Let me kind of look for, see if they show any mining things over here. It could be that it's not going to show me anything for mining. Okay, that's the things you want to mine. You'll see that like my level is 711, so I can mine this, right? I can't mine this. This requires 750, right? So once I get to 750, I'll only mine these jade things, and till then I need to mine the ruby things. And you start with copper, then iron, then gold, then ruby, right? That's how it goes. So it's like the simple explanation for mining. Mining gives you materials. With materials you can craft later. That's kind of like the way it goes. Now back to what we were doing earlier. We were talking about Runewords, and why is it important to learn about the crafting station? Generally, in D2, you'll find items with sockets, or in other games, you find items with sockets. You can make runewords in them. In this game, you have another option. You can roll sockets in an item. And how do you do that? You need, and that's the only recipe that I think you should learn early on. You need 2 hell runes and a perfect gem. Sorry, it's the wrong window. And a perfect gem. So I got perfect gems right here. Right, and over here you'll see that if I take an item, a white item, I saved a few in my stash just to show it. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't do that, which is a shame. I should have done it. Maybe I can find it just by scrolling. Here, empty sockets and roll sockets. So if I put this here, right, it requires 2 hull runes, 1 perfect gem. In order to roll sockets, it will give you a random amount of sockets. That's how I got the sockets in my shield for this Sky Song Runeword. So that's just like a very important like kind of crafting thing. The only thing that I learned for my second day, I didn't look at anything else. I'm just upgrading my gems and doing this. So that's the only thing that I'm focusing on because I wanted to do some runewords that would just kind of boost me through Nightmare and early Hell. So that's what I recommend. I don't want to give you specific runewords to learn because every class will need probably different ones. So I'm just keeping it to that. But yeah, very important. Learn how to put sockets in your white items so you can try and do some runewords that will boost you and make you a lot stronger. Use the prospection thing to break down items that are like satanic that you don't need. And keep collecting, right? Keep upgrading your gear, keep leveling up. At the end of Nightmare, I ended at level 90-ish. Again, you probably can do it way faster, but if you're taking your time, that's about what you'll be. You can see that I'm already higher. I'm already like in hell, deep in hell. So I'll save that for a future video. Don't want to overload these kind of videos so nobody gets too overwhelmed. That's obviously the opposite goal of this. But Nightmare, you can focus on these few things, okay? Let's just wrap it up so it's clear what you need to do in Nightmare. You don't have to focus on clearing a lot. Nightmare is pretty easy. So you focus on just leveling every now and then, upgrading your gear, and learning 1 recipe for crafting, which is rolling sockets, right? 2 hells and a perfect gem, right? And you'll try to make maybe a rune word, 1 rune word that helps you. Now, I said that I will explain something about like the tiers of the items, and the thing I wanted to show is that like different white items have different, like items have different tiers. We kind of talked about it on the first day, and you'll see that like things have S tier, A tier, B tier, and basically if your item is of lower quality than the thing you want to make, so for example, boots, I made a rune word called Ghost Step. Whereas, oh, just Ghost, sorry. It gives 1 skill, and it can give up to 2 skills, apparently, so you want to have an item that is S tier, and it requires level 52. If you make it in a lower tier, it will just be a lower level, but it will be worse than what it shows. So you can see that like it says tier B somewhere near to energy, to the right of energy on this rune word. Then it will show like some things you're not going to get, or you're going to get worse rolls than the potential. So you can make them earlier, but generally speaking, you want to choose higher tier stuff. So how do you filter for that? That's the second thing that you want to learn today. So you learned a little bit about crafting and prospecting, and the second thing you want to learn today is about loot filters. So we looked over here, journal, a little bit of rune words. Didn't touch this page at all. Jewel crafting, we learned a little bit, mostly that you need to ignore it till you get to way late game, right? And now we're going to talk about loot filters. And this, I know this can be very intimidating, but you can already see that there is a very simple formula to what I'm doing around here. Charms and socketables, I kind of keep everything. That's kind of like a tip that I got. They can always be useful. But for everything else, if it's not S tier, you don't want it, right? If it's not S tier, you don't want it, so you kind of like disable, and that's how you can like enable and disable things. So like if it's not S tier, you don't want it. Once you get to Nightmare, you basically don't want them. And if it's not if it's satanic, you want all of them, right? Because these can be prospected, they can become materials. Okay, so that's like the basic setup. I removed like the superior ones because they were mostly not useful. So you can kind of copy the same thing that I did. In order to change your loot filter, again, you just need to press these either letters or names, and it will put them in or remove them based on what you're pressing. But as you can see, again, my setup, just all the satanics and everything. I don't know if it's a good setup. That's just like a basic setup that will help you declutter the screen so you don't get overloaded with a ton of items that you don't want and you don't know which ones to choose. Now, this game actually offers you an incredibly in-depth loot filter that you can go super deep into it. If you want to, you can filter for sockets, you can filter for specific bases, which does matter. At the beginning, I recommend just go easy on yourself. Don't overload yourself. Don't like kill yourself in the process of learning. So that's what I ended up doing. This will help you find the bases you need to craft the things you want. So that's it for the tips for today. With this knowledge, you should be able to easily go through Nightmare and be somewhat ready for Hell difficulty, where I'll be waiting for you with another video. Alright, have a good whatever you're having. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, bye bye bye.